Whew, that was a lot of work. I know, I know. You haven't seen me in a while. I've been gone. Where have I been? Well, take a look. It is gorgeous, right? Look at that view. Well, I've been up here in Washington. I've been remodeling a house, actually. Friends of mine invited me up here to remodel their house, and after a long thought on it and some creative working with everything I had going on back home, I decided that, yeah, I mean, why not? Let's head up here and see what we can do with this house. When I first got here, it was raining, cold, and snowing. But on my last day here, it's a beautiful day. Blue skies, sun is shining. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. It's a really nice day, and it's a nice day to be outside, so I am glad I'm done with the work. I can enjoy a little bit of the fresh air before I have to take off. So it took a lot for me to decide to come up here. Without the help of my husband taking care of my Etsy shop, him managing, oh, there's a squirrel. See him? Right there. Right there. Yeah, my husband managed orders and everything when I decided to come up here, and that was the only way I could keep my shop open. So thanks to him, I was able to come up here and do this, and took a break from the guild for a while, which was nice and relaxing, and been here for about 3.5 months, and yeah, it's been fun. I've remodeled the entire house. Every room was touched. Some, just some paint or whatnot, and new flooring, new light fixtures, that sort of thing. But some of the rooms, yeah, complete remodel. And I'm finally done. I mean, this has been an adventure. So, how about I get a little bit cleaned up, and let's go see what I've been up to. How's that? I think you're gonna enjoy it. So, I flew up here, and I got busy as soon as I put my bags down. Walked through the house, talked with the homeowner. I knew what they wanted done, but this time I could actually see, each room and what it was going to take to be able to do what they were referring to. It's like, okay, yeah, let's get started, first day. And I didn't want to waste any time. They're like, well, don't you want to rest, from your flight? And I'm like, no, let's do this. By the next morning, it was like 4:30 in the morning, and I woke up wide awake. Couldn't sleep anymore. I was like, I have ideas, I have things to do, I want to get going. I came down here to the kitchen area and started measuring things out and drawing up blueprints, and they're drinking my coffee and just drawing on, sketch paper. So I stayed in the house this entire time as it was being remodeled. I've slept in a few different rooms depending on what was being done that week or that month. And it's like one of those games where it has the tiles and you shift them to move, things around to make a picture. Things have been shifted from one room to the other as rooms are getting completed, and it felt like one of those puzzle games. I didn't do all the work myself. There's no way to be able to do that. So I subcontracted out some of the work to local businesses around here. The first one was Christian with Color Fest Paint, and he did an amazing job. He did half of the painting in the house, including the living room here, all the molding, the stairwell, the 20-some foot ceilings in the stairwell entrance area. He also painted the stairwell. I didn't have the ladders or anything to get that high up, so the stairwells in the hallways, he painted all of that, and it's stunning. I mean, the before and after is just amazing in here. The rooms that he didn't do were the rooms that were getting completely renovated, such as the kitchen, the master bathroom, and stuff like that. But the rest of the house he did do, and he did a wonderful job, and I appreciate his help with it. I also contracted out with Vortex Plumbing, and they sent out Tanner, and he was amazing. He came several times, because one week would be like pulling the toilets, the next week or a couple weeks later would be reinstalling them, or doing this sink, doing that sink, installing the kitchen sink and all of its goodies underneath, stuff like that. Yeah, so he came out several times and was able to see the project from beginning to end, and was absolutely amazed of the changes that were happening every time. His work on the house was very good, very professional, much appreciated, and he was super helpful. He helped me out with things, I helped him out with some of the projects, and he's a really good guy, and I appreciate him, and I appreciate Vortex Plumbing for sending him out to help out. So thank you to that company as well. I also contracted all the floors to Lowe's, and they installed the luxury vinyl planks in most of the house. And carpet in all of the bedrooms and offices as well. The biggest help I had up here was my dad. I flew him up here a couple weeks into the project, and he stayed for an entire month, and we knocked out so much. The major tear outs, such as the kitchen cabinets and projects that would take two people, like installing the new kitchen cabinets. There's no way one person could do it by themselves. The ones above the fridge are 24-inch deep cabinets. They're not your little tiny 12-inchers. They're beastly. And I think he replaced probably about 30 lights in this house. A couple of them you can see here in these wall sconces. There's 12 or 13 of them alone, so quite a bit of lighting in this house. But slowly over the month, all the brass was going away, the kitchen was tore out, the new subfloor was put in, and by the time we left, the cabinets were on the wall, and a lot was finished. He had helped me get very far, extremely far on this project, and I don't think I could have done it without him, so I enjoyed spending that time with my dad as well. It was fun. It was fun working with him. It was fun hanging out with him. So, thank you, Dad. I don't think I could have done it without you. So one of the biggest changes in the house was this kitchen. One of the things that was asked was to make it so that they could sit at the island and look out the window. It used to be this little tiny small thing up here at the top, and you would sit at it and you would face the stove. It's like, okay. So now you get to sit here, eat your breakfast or whatever, drink your coffee, and look at the amazing view. That was one of the requests. So the island doubled in size. The space is large enough to hold it. Now the cabinetry came from Valley Wood Cabinetry. I got it through Lowe's. They did not come assembled, so I had to assemble every single one of them. I think there's like 22 in all, with modifying a few of them that had to be modified, such as the accessory cabinets and the garbage one. But yeah, it wasn't hard to assemble them. It was just time consuming because there's 22 cabinets in this kitchen now. The other part was the fridge used to be right over there, and there's like a 12-inch cabinet between the fridge and the stove, so the fridge had to move. This used to be nothing but cabinetry. And with the fridge gone, and over here, it opened up that for cooking. You have a prep area up here. And inside this cabinet is the microwave. The countertops were also contracted out. They were through Lowe's and Flowform, and they did a wonderful job. They look beautiful. And lastly was putting on the handles, and the new backsplash went in. It utilized the space so much more than what it was. There was so much wasted area, and it felt cramped and tiny and small, and now it's huge. The kitchen is big, but it's the same space, just designed better. I would say that this kitchen has probably increased the value of this house by a good $40,000 or more. So well worth the investment of having a really nice kitchen in the house. And I think this kitchen is definitely worthy of this house now. Before it was sad. And now, well, I love it. I hope I do. I designed it. Well, the other rooms that were completely remodeled were the half bath, the upstairs bathroom, which is a full bathroom. They all got new vanities and new flooring, paint, and new lighting, the whole 9 yards. The other one is this room here. I still have to get some paint out of here and some tools, but the big 6-foot cabinet is gone. It's now basically a mudroom area, and they're going to put in a hall tree. And these cabinets got a facelift, so new paint on them and refresh. The difference in this room was amazing, even though it's, a simple little room. It's a laundry room. It's nothing, glorious like the kitchen, but getting rid of the old paint, which was kind of it was a tannish, but it was kind of like a pinky peach kind of color. And the yellow lighting in here and the honey oak cabinets. It was a hole. It felt like a hole. And once the gray paint went up and the darker gray cabinetry was done, and that huge cabinet, it was a big old 6-footer top and bottom, that was removed. The room is big, it's bright, it's cheerful, even for, a laundry room. So definitely a good makeover. And turning it more into a mud room with a little sitting area for your, yourself and your coats, your shoes. It's a space that can be utilized way better than just more cabinetry. Lastly was this room. This is the master suite. The master closet was a complete change out. It had wire shelving and all that got ripped out. And beautiful, nice wood cabinetry was put in. As far as the master bedroom, it was new lights, paint, door, new carpet, the basic. But this room was also completely tore out and changed. This is a new shower system. This half of the room was done by rebath, the other half was done by, started with, my dad and I, and then I finished up. And one of the biggest changes was separating the toilet from the rest of the room. So it's in its own little closet. It has its own door. And getting rid of the mirror. Oh my God, the mirror. Why would you put a mirror by the toilet? Like you're sitting there doing your business and somebody's next to you going, hey, how's it going? Kind of creepy. But yeah. So first off, it was, Dad and I coming in and building a wall, taking out the mirror, putting it in a doorway. And shortly after we started that project is when he flew home. So I finished up the wall, got the door gym and everything installed. Then it was rebath. Rebath came in and tore out the rest of the floor, which was all messed up. It was warped. I mean, everybody looked at the bathroom going, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. Why are you changing it?" And you can see from the before pictures, it was nice. The shower was huge. It was big, open, and spacious. But again, it was dark in here. The floor bowed, so when you open the shower door, it would, if you go too far open, which was, not that far, it would catch on the floor. The walls, the shower walls themselves, the tile was crooked. They weren't level, so they popped out in areas, and the grout lines were all different sizes, everything from a sliver to like a quarter of an inch. And come to find out, when Rebath started, tearing it all out, they put the tile up on plywood, not even tile board, not even green sheetrock board. They put it on plywood, and you can't do that. The potential for water damage is so high, and severe damage, because you're talking plywood into stud work and flooring and stuff like that. And it was surprising that we were surprised that there wasn't water damage with how it was built. So yeah, you never know what issues you're going to come into when you decide to remodel a room or a house. And it doesn't matter the age. They all may potentially have problems or issues, and you just have to work through them. And trust me, every room had its own little problem or issue that had to be resolved. This one had some major ones. But yeah, Rebath came in, they put in the new shower system, they put in the new floor, the baseboard and everything like that. They did a wonderful job, and those guys were amazing. After Rebath was done, I came in, I did painting, the new lighting. Tanner came back. We installed a new vanity. He did the plumbing for it. And did all the finishing work, and now this room is huge. Even though I sectioned off, part of it to make the toilet its own room, with the new paint and the new colors being lighter and everything like that, instead of the dark tile, we went light, flooring, light walls. Instead of the white vanity, did the navy blue vanity for the contrast. It is so much more open, so much bigger. It wasn't until Rebath was done and Amber came and helped clean up a lot of the mess that I actually felt like I was living in a house and not a construction site. And that was a good, almost 3 months into the project. And I felt like, I was finally staying in a house, and it was kind of nice. By then, I only had a few projects left. A lot of them were small, like refinishing this beautiful door. The weather and the sun had damaged it, and Needed to be refinished now or replaced in a few years. So I was able to refinish it and take it back to almost like new, and it should last another 20 or 30 years. So turned out pretty good. I like it. I love the color. It is a mix too. But everything is finished and it's time for me to head home. I miss my hubby, I miss my family, I miss my bed, my pillow. Managing this project was not only managing the work that had to be done, scheduling everything in the right order, and dealing with delays, but also any ad hoc changes or fixing problems that came up with each room. And yes, every room in the house, like I said, had its own problems that came up. Some small, some not so small. But the other thing I had to work around was the living conditions. Living in the house while it was under construction had its own issues. Making sure that at least one of the bathrooms with a working shower and a toilet was available at all times. And not dealing with the kitchen for, about 2 months or something like that. Yeah, that was, that was interesting. We tried, at the beginning it was frozen foods and, microwave dinners and stuff like that, and it didn't last very long. Both my dad and I were like, nope. We did try Swans, and they had some pretty good food, so they were a lifesaver, definitely. And finally, after a couple months, I was able to make a meal with spices and, from scratch. And I ended up making a roast beef with carrots and mashed potatoes. And I've made it, hundreds of times before. It's one of my favorites. But you know what? That was the best roast beef with carrots and potatoes I have ever had. And it had a lot to do with what it took to get to that point. The 2 or 2.5 months of rebuilding and working and making a new kitchen. It was like an accomplishment in itself of, I had to do all of this to make this meal. And I think it made it taste so much better. I think out of all of the rooms, the kitchen is the one I'm most proud of. It is the one I've spent most of my time. I mean, the table was set up in here for the longest time, and this is where I did all my designing and everything, but it was more of this kitchen, I designed it, my dad and I tore it out, my dad and I helped, started putting it back together, and I finished the cabinetry, did the tile backsplash, the whole 9 yards on that. And seeing a project from, a piece of paper, blueprints, and then doing all the work and seeing it develop and seeing it come into life, and then finally being able to enjoy it, the end result. It was so much fun. It was so rewarding, and so yeah, I think I'm most proud of this room because it was it was the biggest job, it was the most detailed, it was everything, you know. And I think it turned out great. And I hope that my friends enjoy it. They'll be seeing it tomorrow, actually. That's about it. So I'll leave you with before and after pictures of all the stuff. And I have a plane to catch and a husband to go hug. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.